Figured out why the Panhead wasn't charging, guys. So my buddy Cade bought this bike as a cardboard, several cardboard boxes worth of parts. And me and him went down there together, and Cade bought it from this guy, and this guy didn't know much about it. He bought it from a friend who needed the money or something, and he wasn't into building a Panhead, so he got rid of it. So my friend Cade bought it, and we built it over here. It was his bike originally, and not that long ago, he decided he wanted to go do some non-motorcycle stuff for a while, so he asked me if I wanted to buy it. Told him yes, so here it is now. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff about this that we just didn't know anything about. Best I can tell, it's a 53 wishbone frame and a 61 FLH 74-inch Panhead. So here's what we just discovered. I pulled the generator off earlier, and when I pulled it off, the generator came out and there was no generator gear on it. I put this generator gear on just a moment ago. This is a spare one that I had, just to test fit it, and it's obviously the right one and everything. But when I pulled the generator out earlier, there was no gear on it, just the bare spline shaft of the generator itself. I stuck my finger through this hole in the backside, and I could feel the generator gear, and then of course it went tumbling down inside here. So we pulled the push rods off, and then pulled the cam cover, and we found this generator gear, which we knew that was in there. And then I went fishing around more, and down there in the bottom I found the nut, the lock washer. You can see why this lock washer probably failed, because it doesn't have any spring left. It's almost flat compared to, what it should look like. I don't see how it would be able to exert pressure to keep it locked in place. Plus, I think that's supposed to be a nylock nut from what I remember with my travails on the flathead. Anyways, that's just for comparison. I found the lock washer, the nut, and this looks like a spacer somebody made. All three of these were down here. It looks like some idiot who owned this before we didn't understand how this generator gear went on or something. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus here, but you can see tooling marks on the generator gear where somebody had cut it with a cutoff wheel, is what it looks like. And it's all crooked as hell. It's not a break, it's been cut. And it should look like that, where it has that shoulder right there. So best I can tell, somebody cut this down because they didn't know what they were doing. Then they realized that was not correct, and they put this on here as some sort of a spacer to make up the difference for what they cut off. At least that's what I think. I'm hoping that I can get some confirmation from some of the people that are more knowledgeable about these flatheads, because I'm still kind of learning here. It doesn't seem to go anywhere else. It's not a spacer or anything that I can tell for any of that. It's somebody's spacer they made to correct their trimming this generator gear, unnecessarily trimming this generator gear. So anyways, found that, the failed lock washer, and this nut in the bottom of the case down there. And it doesn't look like anything has been damaged, luckily. Probably because as soon as something was wrong, I decided to dig a little deeper here. But I'm gonna think on this. I'm gonna sit on it for a while and probably pull some more stuff out of the cam chest here to have a closer look and make sure everything is copacetic. Also, We always surmised that this thing must have been cammed because the exhaust note was a little more aggressive than what we would expect a typical stock Panhead to be. And when you lay into this thing, it just comes alive in the top end. It just screams. It scares me, honestly. I don't really like riding that fast to begin with, but this thing being, no front brake and 8-over tubes, raked out, the rigid frame, you run out of chassis long before you run out of motor, and it's really just pretty horrifying. So it is nice to see that, hey, we were right. It is cammed. I'm hoping maybe someone can enlighten me about this. I'm going to do some of my own searching around on the internet, see what I can come up with. But Andrews J. So if anyone has any insight into this, please let me know. Specifically this piece, like I say, this seems to be a spacer somebody made to go with the generator gear after they trimmed it down. I don't know what they were doing, but that's the best theory so far. But I really want to figure that out for sure before I put this back together. And I'm gonna poke around in there and make sure there's nothing else loose in there. Maybe someone can identify this generator. It's got a stylized C right there, and then number 0692. I don't see any other identifying markings anywhere on it. Does that C mean it's a cyclo-electric? No, it would say cyclo-electric on there, right? If this thing works, I just assume reuse it, but I'm also not opposed to replacing it if need be. I know a couple people have mentioned, rightly so, that a cyclo-electric Jenny with a built-in regulator would be a good upgrade, so if that's what it needs, then that's what I'll do.